This KHOU11 special presentation brought to you by the Houston Fire Department and State Farm.
When you hear that a hurricane is coming, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? Should I evacuate? Do we have enough food, water, and gas? How can I protect my home? You're about to meet some people who think about hurricanes in a completely different way. They're the ones helping prepare our communities for an approaching storm. They're out on the front lines when a hurricane is at its worst, and they work around the clock to help us all recover. They may be your friends, your neighbors, or total strangers, and they risk their own safety for you and your family. Get ready. We're putting you in the shoes of our hurricane heroes. So who are these unsung heroes? And what does it really take to prepare and protect us during a storm? Well, it all starts right here on the bayou. Meet Vince, operator for Harris County Flood Control and chainsaw wizard. Nice to see you again. You've been in my yard cleaning up the bayou that runs behind my yard from time to time. But today, and we got a mess here. And if this isn't clear, what's going to happen?
It's going to cause flooding out here, so we want to show you some stuff that we can do to make it look real nice and clean.
So what do I need first?
You need a vest, hard hat, safety gloves.
Gloves, thank you, Vince.
Now we're going to get started. I'm going to go down and cut the tree off the stump. Carl's going to tie it up, and we're going to pull it up with a tractor.
All right, let's get this done.
Here we go.
Now we got to hook this thing up and pull it out. What do we need to do, Vince?
We need to hook into the shackle.
All right.
Make sure it's secure.
This is the work right here that will hopefully keep water out of a lot of houses if we have a big storm. All right, here we go.
There she go.
So we got the tree out of the bayou, so now what are we going to do?
We're going to go to the truck, and we're going to start cutting it up in links.
What is it going to be like when we have a big hurricane come in and there are not just 2 trees down in the bayou here, but 10 in just this bayou and 100 in that bayou, and how are you going to handle it all?
I mean, we just have to work a lot of overtime, get the job done.
So now that we've got the bayou flowing, how do we measure how much water is in it and what bayous are in danger of flooding?
Well, David, that's up to my flood watch team. They monitor all the bayous.
Meet Renee, part of the flood control team and flood gauge technician. So Houston is a bayou city for a reason. If it weren't for the bayous, we'd be a swamp, wouldn't we, Renee?
We sure will.
How you doing, man?
All right, how you doing?
So Renee is one of the guys who monitors and maintains all of the gauges so we know how high the bayous are getting and we know where the problems are. And you've got one we're working on today, right?
Yes, sir. Gauge 530.
This is the gauge, and this is what sends you the information.
The rain gauge up there on top measures every 400th of an inch of rain. And our water level that runs into the bayou will give us a report on 1/10 of an inch when the water comes up to let us know what's happening at that location.
This is why Renee and the people at Harris County Flood Control are some of the unsung heroes of the storm. Next time you see a flood control guy working on one of these gauges across the bayou, give him a wave, because Renee and the rest of them are setting up to protect us from the next storm. I think this one better be working soon.
Yeah, it's working, all right.
These guys work hard, 365 days a year. It's a never-ending job, especially after a storm passes. But what happens during a flash flood?
What happens when the water rises in your neighborhood and you need to be rescued? And who are the heroes there to help? When floodwaters rise, Travis is one of the guys you want to rescue you. He's part of the Houston Fire Department Swift Water Rescue Unit. Well, hey, Travis.
Good morning.
You've got all this gear.
Yes, ma'am. This is for you. This is your safety gear for the day.
Oh, boy.
And we'll be using this to get you trained as a swift water rescue technician. We have a dry suit.
Okay.
This is going to fully encapsulate you. And what this is going to do is provide you protection from elements in the water, from critters to chemicals, as well as help regulate temperature. Go ahead and pull down from the front. I'll help with the back. Shoes helps traction. This type of PFD here is specifically designed for swift water rescue. It's got what they call a live bait feature.
Okay.
So if we had to put you on a line and put you out of swift water, you'd be connected here. So last thing we're going to put on is your helmet. So you ready to go launch a boat?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. had so much adrenaline going out there today. It was so exciting, but I can't imagine how much y'all prepare for when you really have to do a rescue.
We do train, but the actual execution sometimes doesn't happen very often. So we utilize days like today where we can come out and exercise the whole process from the equipment to the boats and the techniques used to rescue somebody.
And I mean, Travis, that was exhausting. I mean, how do you physically keep up with this demand?
A lot of it's technique.
Yeah.
You notice that we use the boat to our advantage. We'll throttle up and induce a turn called a J-turn. In effect, that the body of the victim floats up with the acceleration, and that pillow of water makes the leverage of that body just kind of pull. And so when he pulls in, it just takes a lot of the body weight off.
You know what, I felt it. The physical demands are so much. I mean, just with the amount of weight of a person, you never know who you're going to rescue.
Correct. All shapes, sizes, different temperatures and conditions. So with these suits, you don't breathe well, so you got to stay hydrated. Sunscreen is a must, and try to at least stay somewhat fit.
Wow, what a day of swift water rescue training. These heroes are ready to act, but they're not the only heroes.
Hurricane season is here. Is your family prepared? At the fire station, we build disaster kits and place them in portable containers in case of evacuation. You can do the same to protect your family. For more hurricane safety tips, visit HoustonFire.org. Be safe, Houston.
Houston Transstar is more than just a traffic center. It is the glue that holds this community together before, during, and after the storm, and houses the Office of Emergency Management. These are the heroes that make it happen.
Meet Misty. She's the one making sure the Harris County Office of Emergency Management is operational at a moment's notice.
I'm here with Misty, and Misty's going to tell us all the other things that happens at Transstar, especially during an emergency situation as a hurricane.
And what happens here is it becomes the coordination center during an emergency. We have liaisons from our partner agencies, and they are here providing us with information that we can provide then back to the public. It may be street flooding, bayou flooding, school closures.
Give me an example of what you guys do. I'm going to sit down here with you at one of these workstations. Let's say this turns into a tropical depression or tropical storm. How many people are going to come in?
88 seats here on the floor, and every one of them will be full.
So let's say you've been here a long time and somebody needs a meal, somebody needs some sleep. Where are you going to go?
Our logistics supervisor, Joey Clemens, has all those plans and has all the supplies ready for us.
This is Joey, communications and logistics expert. When he's not working the radios, he's making sure the facility can house hundreds of employees for days during a storm.
Tell me exactly what happens.
We store a lot of the items that we use internally for the EOC that you were just in. Those support people have to have cots, blankets, and equipment. So this is where we store a lot of that equipment. So what we're going to do first is have you line up the forks while you sit here with a height that you think is approximate to that shelf.
I'm going to take a guess right about there. Does that look good to you?
You're a little short.
A little short. People have definitely said that to me many times, especially when they see me.
One pallet of luxury cots.
Ready, delivered. And what happens next when all the communication goes down?
That's on the inside with the air conditioning. Let's go take a look at it.
I can't wait to get there.
So Mario, this is our communications room. Take a seat. We rely heavily on cell phones and normal methods of telephones now. We can't do that here. We have to be ready for anything. So we have a gambit of Red Cross radios, Coast Guard, even satellite phones.
Harris County communications check.
This is Harris County, which is out clear.
So we rely on our amateur radios. We're field deployable, and they have standby equipment, antennas that are in-house now that we can deploy at a moment's notice.
These fine heroes are here before, during, and after the storm, but there are so many other fine hurricane heroes in our community.
So we've seen the rescuers who come and save you when you're on the ground from floodwaters. But what about the rescuers in the air, the heroes that save you when boats cannot?
Meet Mike, a Coast Guard swimmer. He's the guy that'll save you in an air rescue.
So what are we doing here today at the pool?
We're going to train you how to be a survivor in the water for one of our rescue flights.
Let's do it, let's do it.
All right. So here's your restroom harness. This is what we wear on a daily basis. So you ready to swim?
Sure.
So when you get lowered down and you unhook from the cable, you're going to give one hand up.
So that means you're
Arm
free.
up.
You're a free
That
swimmer.
means swimmer is okay. Something happens, you get a cramp, see a shark, emergency. If you want to talk to the helicopter, this is the radio signal. So hand to your ear.
So when would this be deployed?
There's a problem with the hoist, they can't pick us back up. Plane has to leave us on scene. They'll throw this out to us. So here's the inflation. So I'm gonna let you hop in. Pretend I'm not even here.
Ah, so bumpy. Ah, the waves are horrible. Oh, look at the splashing against the window.
It's one thing to learn this stuff in the pool, but what's it like to see these heroes in action?
All right, today's mission, guys, is a hurricane exercise. We're going to do some confined area landings. We're also going to do some hoisting to rooftops and windows. This is something we are going to do in our careers at some point.
There's the 2 fire towers right here, and we're going to be doing most of our hoist there, and we're going to have a fire truck staged out in this area. So we'll be hoisting off the fire truck, hoisting out of these buildings here. And the pattern will basically be, once we're done with a survivor in the cabin, we'll slide over and drop them off here. And then when it's clear, we'll transition to forward flight and come around again.
Just continual
Yeah, we'll just
rescues.
continuously move people in the Black Hawk. And then the Fox aircraft, the Houston Police Department folks will be in there as well.
When you're up in the helicopter, it's go time. It's after a hurricane, people are actually in trouble, and you're going into it. Like, what's going through your mind?
It's all business. I mean, you're just trying to get the job done as quickly and as safely as possible.
These heroes are some of the most elite rescue swimmers in the world. And let me tell you from firsthand experience, their job is not easy. Now, these next folks may not physically save your life, but they risk theirs every day on the job. Who are the unsung heroes who get the power back on after a storm strikes?
Is your family prepared for a hurricane? We stock the fire station with plenty of water, food, and first aid supplies. Make sure you have enough supplies to keep your family comfortable. For more hurricane safety tips, visit HoustonFire.org. Be safe, Houston.
The storm has hit, but even before the storm has passed, who are the heroes who are up on the line in the storm working to get your power back on? This is Ollie, center point lineman, family man, and the guy who's going to get your power turned back on. Today, you're going to show me how we repair these lines when the emergency has hit.
That's right. As you see, Dave, tree came down, took down the span of primary wire here. We have the tree caught up in there, possible bad transformer, and it snapped cross arms. You see the primary wire there.
So are we ready to go up in the bucket and get that tree limb out?
Before you do any work out here with our facilities, you must have the proper gear.
All right.
FR clothing, that'll protect you. Must protect your eyes, headgear, and then gloves. We do not work without gloves on.
So obviously we've got a limb down, we've got damage on that part of the line. But you guys have to go sometimes quite a ways away down line to make it safe to work on that. That's why it can take a while to get the power back on.
That's right. We have fuses to isolate, and then we'll take out multiple grounds to box ourselves in so we have a safe work area. It's just all about safety all the time.
All right, let's get harnessed up.
So we're all grounded here today. We boxed in.
All right.
Next task. I'm glad you came, man, to help me out with this.
Hey, anytime. Just give me a call. I'll come out here and do this anytime.
Yeah.
Except I'm not climbing the pole with the spiked boots. I'm gonna leave that to the professionals.
We'll ease this primary down so we don't get extensive damage. Property damage to the customer, tear down more power lines. We don't want to do that.
I never knew all these different steps you had to take just to get a tree limb out of the line, but this is all very, very important.
Right. We get the hang line back. We're on our way to another task.
All right. This is it right here.
Right.
This is why my electricity is out.
That's it. Tree came, smacked it, shook the pole, broke this, tore it down on the other side, line goes down.
This is just one of many things that could go wrong up here on a line. When you've got a big storm that's just blown through, this is just one of what may be. I mean, how many possible spots like this could there be after a storm?
Several, in different areas, behind the same line.
And this is why it can take hours and sometimes days, maybe sometimes even a week if you've got hundreds or maybe thousands of spots like this across the city.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we just repaired one line, but it took many, many steps and a lot of time just to get one line and one pole repaired. And when the power comes back on, you guys are our heroes, and we appreciate you very, very much. But this is only one of many different moving parts going on when a storm hits. There are other heroes at work.
What happens when a hurricane's high wind and floodwaters cause a hazardous materials leak? And who are the heroes who keep those hazmats within our communities contained?
This is Nathan, a hazardous materials technician. When dangerous materials leak, he's on scene to stop it.
So what are we doing today?
We're going to simulate different leaks, and we're going to train you on how to take care of those.
All right, well, so what's the first step?
We'll do like a visual inspection of the suit before we put it on.
This looks like a moon suit.
This is the most protection we can have.
So whether there's poisonous gas or something in the air, you're safe.
Correct.
Should I stand up or do it sitting down?
So do it sitting down, one leg at a time.
All right. Oh wow. So these are just standard rubber boots, or are they also kind of special?
They're special.
It's like scuba gear without the water. At this point, you've been briefed on the chemical. You're suited up. You're ready to go. You're on site. What's the next step?
We're going to put our mask on.
Okay.
And they're going to come in and help us. We got to turn our bottles on.
It is a little strange. It's like being I can't describe it.
As we walk up, we're going to check for flammability with this, okay?
Okay.
We have no meter response, so we're okay. So now we have to get our tools. So we're going to walk back over here, and we're going to get our overpack drum and our wrench to tighten the bung down with.
Okay.
The cap is called a bung. Now we don't know the product level in the barrel, so we could very easily stop the leak by picking it up or rolling it over. Tighten it up.
Okay, so just like a wrench, I see.
We're gonna lay the overpack drum over and put one end of the drum in it, and then we're gonna roll it to get it all into the overpack, and then we'll turn it upright. No, we're gonna leave it here now because whoever product this is, it's their responsibility now. We need to get our tools, we need to get our wrench back, and then we'll move on to the leak monster. We'll move on over there and go handle that issue.
All right, cool.
We have no meter response, so we're okay. It turned red, so that means it's very acidic, but we're still good because it's not flammable. All right, so we're gonna go in, we're gonna put the Mueller clamp on. So we want to try to stay out of it as much as we can.
Okay.
We're gonna screw this down.
It's really hard to see with the water on the face.
Yeah, it's very hard to see. All right, there we go. We'll try that for now.
That's good. That's good.
All right, well, we're not going to tighten anymore. Now we're going to turn the valve off, but we want to turn it off nice and slow. There we go.
There we go.
That's as good as we can do for now, so we've done a significantly better job than what was going on.
Right.
All right, so now we're done. Now we would go out and get deconned.
There are countless unsung heroes that train every day to help you if there's a storm. But who's there to help if you don't have a home after the storm?
Generators are great to have after a hurricane, but always make sure your generator is located outdoors, away from any doors, windows, or vent openings. For more hurricane safety tips, visit HoustonFire.org. Be safe, Houston.
When a storm blows through, it can have a devastating effect on our community. So what happens if you lose your home and need immediate help? Who are the heroes that will be there for you? This is Cameron. He's been setting up shelters with the Red Cross for over a decade. When things get bad, these volunteers are ready on a moment's notice.
Hey there.
Hey there.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. So we are in a disaster relief operation area, and this is really what you would use in case of an emergency.
Exactly. We're always going to be prepping shelters like this so people have a place to stay, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado or a flood.
Well, what's our first plan of
Your
action?
first plan of action is become an official Red Cross volunteer with your vest.
Let's make it happen.
So now we're going to start setting up cots. These folks are going to need a place to stay. The Red Cross doesn't own shelters across town, but we want to make sure that we have shelters set up where people are going to need them, where it's going to be close to home.
If somebody were to need to use this cot, how long do some people stay on something like this?
Really just depends on, it may be weeks, maybe just a few days. We want to make sure that people are going to have a safe spot. So if it's a fire, usually their insurance or friends and family will come in and help. But if it's a long-term, like a flood or a hurricane, it may be weeks.
So this is what goes on the cot.
Yeah, we want to make sure that people are going to be comfortable. So a lot of people prefer to bring their own blanket, their own special toy, their own pillow. Obviously, this is going to be your home for a while.
Right, but in case someone evacuated, they didn't have anything,
Exactly.
you've got everything.
We want to make sure people are going to have a blanket. And these are actually really nice and cozy.
Ooh.
So we'll put a blanket on each. Then everyone will also get a comfort kit.
I see what's in here. Now this, this is really neat that you have everything that someone would really need. I mean, from mild shampoo, conditioner, shave gel even, a comb, tissue.
Just things that you may not remember or will have to grab, but really we don't want them to have to worry about.
What else does the Red Cross do during an emergency situation?
So sheltering is just one element to it, but we want to make sure that people's immediate needs are getting taken care of. So people who may not stay in a shelter may have friends or relatives that they can stay with, but after a hurricane, they're still going to be home, fixing their home up, making sure that they're able to clean things up, and we'll be distributing cleanup supplies throughout the affected area on those ambulance-style looking trucks. And those routes will also include 3 meals a day on those same trucks at different times. We also have a component where we provide some mental health support to folks and help them to recover.
How long does this take to just get set up to be able to use?
A couple hours, and we'll be able to be set up for somebody who really needs it.
We've introduced you to some of the Houston area's many hurricane heroes. These are some of the bravest men and women that I've ever met. Just think about what they do. They're ready to go to work whenever a storm hits. While most of us are trying to leave town due to evacuation or hunkering down in our homes, these people, our friends and family members, risk their own safety to protect you. Whether it's preparing, rescuing, or helping you recover, this has been a glimpse into what it really takes to keep our community going before, during, and after a hurricane. These men and women truly stand for Houston, and we're honored to join them, providing you with important information you need to keep your family safe. On behalf of the entire KHOU11 team, thank you for joining us in celebrating our hurricane heroes.